Good afternoon. Today is Monday, April 1st, 2019. It is 5:16 p.m. New York time, which means the market closed. And the analysis given here is for educational purposes only, and it is in no way to be used as investing advice. It is simply my own personal opinion, formed from over 10,000 hours of charting experience. I will include 4 links of video analysis I did on Aurora Cannabis, which is the stock we have on screen right now. And in these 4 videos, you are going to be able to see how I started my analysis on this, and I called the price regression. I started analyzing it right around here. I call the little regression, then the continuation, and then I call the continuation here, and then I call this regression. So all those videos in there show you in great detail how to go about analyzing this and how accurate my analysis of the movements represented here were called in time before they happen. And so now I'm going to give you my analysis for what I see happening next. What we have in here, and again, if you watch those videos, you will see how the daily, on the last video that I was talking about the daily being here on top, and then I talked about the regression and the daily actually pointing down for a brief period of time on this regression, and then we should have a continuation. How do I know this? Because the first thing you need to know or see is the larger time frames. In this case, what are we having here? We have a 15-minute chart, an hourly chart, a daily chart, and a weekly chart. So the largest time frame here is the weekly chart. What is the direction on the MACD, the blue line here, the indicator? Up. It has shown a little bit of weakness here at the end because it is showing us the pullback that took place in here. But if this pullback, while severe, and it price pullback from the very top there to the bottom over here, $2 in about 9 trading days. And a $2 pullback was not enough to convince the MACD here, the indicator, the blue line, to turn to the downside. It still points up. However, the daily was actually made to technically top and then turn to the downside, acknowledging the $2 drop that we see in here. However, that pullback, which is happening inside of the channel regressions here, seems to be over. Let's paint the channels here on the daily. There you have it. So when I was doing my analysis at the beginning of this video series, right in this area here, we were still looking at the strength of the uptrend, and we had not, at this particular point in here, reached the top of this channel painted here on the daily. We were still with a lot of poise to the upside. And so the price finally resolves its issues that were created right in here. At this point, the 60-minute chart still had a lot of upside in it. It allowed this pullback, it turned itself down. Then we have a continuation, which gives us the top of the channel right here. It creates a downside pressure pattern here on the hourly. What I'm looking at is the length of the price movement to the upside, comparing that to the indicator. You can see how the indicator is significantly shorter than the upside. So that is a downside pressure pattern. So we have a technical topping. Here we are touching the top of the channel regression, and that calls for a regression of the price. And as long as the weekly doesn't turn during this time, which it didn't, then the uptrend controlled by the weekly remains still alive. Now take a look at how the price regressed in here, and in here we can see how the price, as it trends down, it creates its own channeling system. We topped in here, then the price comes back down, touches the bottom of the channel, we have a regression right here. It doesn't quite touch the channel, but we have a lot of downside, so we have a continuation. The price touches the bottom of the channel, then we have a regression. Right here, touch the channel, we have a continuation. The price bottoms out, and then it seems like the price is really starting to resolve to the upside on the continuation. However, the daily has not turned back up. The weekly is definitely on the upside. When we had this bottoming in here, take a look at what happened on the 60-minute chart. Is this not an upside divergence? Let's paint this upside divergence by comparing indicator bottoms with price bottoms. So in this particular moment here, we have an indicator bottom with a price bottom. So these two correspond with each other. Then the price regressed. Then we have a continuation. The price explores a new low right here at 838. Talking about price, not time. And when that happened, we have a new price bottom. And where is the indicator? The second bottom on the indicator is slightly higher than the previous one, is it not? So we grab those two and connect them with a line like this, and we project that onto the price like this. That is telling you that the technical pressure bearing on the price is to the upside. What does the price do? Moves up. Now, when that was happening here on the 60, we have an upside divergence on the hourly, and we have a rather interestingly entrenched upside divergence on the 15. Another thing that you need to notice is where was the price when it bottomed over here at 838? At the bottom of this channel. Bottom of the channel, price changes direction, moves up. Fueled by what? An upside divergence here on the 60, and also here, very obvious on the 15. And if we move that analysis to the daily chart and we paint our up channel over here, or the channel regressions at the daily, we touch the bottom of the channel. Take a look. Here's the channeling of the price here on the daily. The price comes back down, touches the bottom of the channel, and now we are in continuation territory. Are we not? So the long-term picture over here is that we have entered the continuation, and the continuation of the price on the long-term trend puts the price well above 10 and even higher. If I bring this down and we pull this line over here, the uptrend says that the price belongs at 11 or even higher, at which point the price would be then again touching the top of the channel, and at that point a regression might be in the cards again. However, when that happens, we will have possibly have established a negative divergence on the daily. But that has not happened yet. And a well-established negative divergence on the daily might just be enough to convince the weekly to technically top in very much the same fashion that the daily topped, and then we have a more pronounced price drop, perhaps like this one's in here. that we can see on the weekly. Let me erase all of these drawings so that we don't get distracted. Another point that I want to make is that channel regressions are not mathematically perfect and shouldn't be construed as that. They are, however, a very good guideline that allows you to forecast future price movements as long as you understand trend, channel regressions, and you can use the means of a technical indicator like the MACD here with divergences, positive divergences and negative divergences. Now, with that said, what do I see over here? I see that this 60-minute chart is looking a little tired on the upside here. And we are building negative pressure here on the 15. We have a topping system with a negative divergence in here. Take a look at how when the price opened in the morning, it jumped to 930 and then it quickly regressed and it lost 30 cents in a matter of an hour. And then the price started going back up, but technically we're still weak and that hourly looks a little iffy. Let's take a look at the 2-hour and 4-hour charts to see what that looks like. Well, the 2-hour is pointing up with strength, where the 60 looks tired, the 30 has technically flattened, the 2-hour has acknowledged the pullback here, but it looks like it can allow for the price to drop. Two scenarios that can play out in here. We might have a possible short-term drop on the price, and difficult to say if it's going to come back down on this channeling system and explore new lows, say at 8 right here. But if that happens, when that happens, we're going to have a very entrenched upside divergence on the hourly. And if we go back to the daily is already showing us signs of weakening. So we might have a situation kind of like what happened here. We had a price bottoming over here, continuation, and then a new low. That would be the price exploring 8 in here. And let's see if we can see that moment. That was in February. Let's see if these charts go back down. Yeah, here we go. So take a look at the daily comes down here. And at this point, the daily had already turned to the downside. And then we have a new price low here at 665. The price comes back up, comes back down, and we create upside support on the hourly in here. Take a look at the bottoming of the price versus the support on the indicator. As a matter of fact, this is almost an anomaly because the price visited that low for a very brief period of time. So the bottoming is really here with upside technicals, which creates the support, and it technically bottoms the daily turns. The price still meanders in here with a series of little pullbacks and continuations as it resolves to the upside, and then we have finally the price goes up like a geyser and it touches the top of the channel, which I called in my previous videos. And then we have the regression. And I think we are possibly going to see something like that. A little price regression in here. And then the price goes up. So my long term here, and I say long term, within the next week or two, we're going to see possibly the formation of an hourly upside pattern. And then ultimately we're going to see the continuation. But there's no way this thing is just going to drop from here. Once it stabilizes in here, we're going to have the price continue the upside as we create a negative divergence on the daily. So let's see what happens. Again, today is Monday, April the 1st. I'll come back and revisit this in the next few days. But remember, I'm saying categorically over here, we're either going to come back down a little bit, form more of an entrenched upside divergence on the hourly, and then the price is going to slingshot to the upside, or the price, after meandering a little bit over here, just starts resolving to the upside, which is a possibility, because if we bring up SPY in here, take a look at how SPY has a lot of momentum to the upside. Take a look at that weekly, extremely strong to the upside. However, the price, with the big upside that it experienced today, it's topping on this channel and it has a negative divergence. However, the trend to the upside is still very strong. So it could just be that the price on SPY continues the upside and it actually hits 290. If that is the case, then it is very possible that Aurora Cannabis just goes up and it explodes to 11 or even above 11. So that's the possible scenario. Let's see what happens, and I'll catch you on the next video. I just want to state for the record in here, again, a little disclaimer. The analysis given in here is for educational purposes only, and it is in no way to be used as investing advice. It is simply my own personal opinion formed with over 10,000 hours of charting experience. Catch you on the next one.